Hans Nichols follows the suits and ties in Berlin. Erik Schatzker is following the people of Greece in Athens. Erik, the photos are dramatic. How much have things deteriorated in the last few days, and how does Greece get to the Sunday referendum?
Well, we may not even be going to the Sunday referendum, Tom, and that's because this piece of paper right here is the piece of paper that could, and I emphasize could, change everything. It's a letter that Alexis Tsipras, the Prime Minister, sent last night. It is dated June 30th to Juncker, Draghi, and Lagarde. And what it says, in short, is that we, the Greek people, or at least we, the Greek government, I, the Prime Minister, am prepared to accept the conditions for a new bailout with some modifications. And the modifications are not unimportant. I would not describe them as minor. And they include maintaining a discount on the value-added tax for the Greek islands. This is a hugely important issue as far as the Greek tourism industry is concerned. There is concern, or at least worry, at the Prime Minister's office and in the government that if you eliminated the discount, the tourism industry in those islands would collapse. And furthermore, an unwillingness on the part of Tsipras to accept all of the conditions attached to pension reform. Tsipras signed the letter. Yours faithfully, Tom. It's an open question as to whether this is a faithful attempt to restart negotiations or yet another ploy on the part of the Syriza government. Back to you.
Erik Schatzker, thank you so much. Let's go to Hans Nichols in Brussels. Excuse me, in Berlin right now. Maybe he can be in Brussels and Berlin at the same time. Hans, it is a movable feast. We saw Mr. Schäuble with those dramatic headlines moments ago. Does he speak for Chancellor Merkel?
Yes, there's no, Merkel has moved towards Schäuble's direction. There's no daylight between the two of them now. What you heard from Merkel later yesterday was that negotiations wouldn't start until after the referendum. What Mr. Tsipras has done, perhaps cleverly, perhaps dangerously, perhaps riskily, but as any negotiator would tell you, he's tried to expand the negotiating field. He's tried to give himself some more chips. And that additional chip is this referendum on Sunday. Now, he can always call that referendum off, and he can maybe get some goodwill on that. He could also switch his position on that referendum, say, actually, I've gotten enough, I've extracted enough from the creditors, let's vote yes for it. He is entirely in control on what happens with that referendum, and that's his bargaining chip
Hans,
right now.
what I notice and what's changed is the polling that says a no vote is feasible. What does that news mean to the people, the suits and ties that you follow in Brussels and Berlin? If they get a no vote, how does their body action change on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before the referendum?
A no vote makes their job much easier because a no vote leads you towards a Grexit, right? I would also say that the suits and ties in Brussels and Berlin are discounting that poll because it's from a pro-Syriza newspaper. They could really have only been in the field for 2 days, and general polling is pretty spotty. And one thing the poll did show was movement towards the yes vote after capital controls were imposed. So later this evening, we may be getting more polls. But remember, guys, if the polls look bad for Syriza, if they look bad for Mr. Tsipras, he can always cancel the referendum.
Okay, Hans Nichols, Erik Schatzker, thank you so much.